Hi, this is Hassan from the hotglue team, and today I'm going to walk you through our new Google Sheets integration. So what I have on the screen here is a demo app that is meant to show how the user experience of the Google Sheets integration works. So all this is a plain website which has the hotglue widget included. So what you can see here is that it's prompting me to connect my Google Sheets. And when I click on this, it will immediately prompt basically a pop-up asking me to go through Google's OAuth process and connect my Google Sheets account. So I'm going to go ahead and authorize. And this pop-up here, Google hasn't verified this app, is because we're using a testing account. But in production, this would look different. So you can see my testing app called hotglue.xyz is asking me to give access to see my Google Drive files and access Google Sheets. So I'm going to grant access to both of these things and click on continue. Then we see it's connecting the data, and that's it. So now Google Sheets is connected. Now if I click on this again to look at the settings here, you can see this pop up showing basically I have Google Sheets linked. And then inside of here, I can select which Google Sheets I actually want to sync. So right now it's pulling the full list of Google Sheets from my account, and you can see a big list here. And so what I've done is I've prepared basically a testing Google Sheet here called test sheet. It has just 3 rows of data, and it's just some simple context data. So I'm going to search here for test sheet. You can see it's here. And I can select as many of these Google Sheets as I want to, or I can just go with the one I've selected. So I'm going to click save here. And what that's done is basically set that the next time my data is synced from Google Sheets, it's going to be pulling just that test sheet. So at this point, basically the user experience is done. They've connected their Google Sheets account and they've told you which files they actually want to sync. If you want, you can go a step beyond that and actually offer them some actions. So you can see here, I have 2 actions enabled. One that allows me to run a sync of my data with Google Sheets, and then another option that allows me to edit the schedule. So if I open this, what this is showing is basically I can choose a sync schedule. So the example here is every day at 12 a.m., it's going to go to Google Sheets and clone all my data from the sheets that I've selected. So for now, I'll leave this alone, and I'll just do a testing sync. And so you can see it's kicked off a sync for Google Sheets. And that's everything. So just to recap, we connected Google Sheets, we selected which sheet we actually want, and then we ran a sync. So in terms of your user experience, that's all there is to it. Now what we'll do is we'll jump over to what the experience is like to set up this Google Sheets integration inside of hotglue, and then also take a look at what data was actually cloned when we clicked on that sync job button. Okay, so we are now in the hotglue admin dashboard. What we're looking at right now is the flows dashboard. Flows are basically groups of integration. So you can see here we have just one flow called Sheets with one source and no targets configured. So if I click into this, we can actually see that the source Google Sheets is configured, and if I click into this, there are some settings. So for example, which OAuth app we're using, as I mentioned. For this, we're just using one of our testing OAuth apps, and then some configuration. So you can, for example, set up pre-processing script for in Python if you wanted to. And then the real thing that happens is once you've cloned the data from Google Sheets, you can choose a target for where you want it to go. So this would be somewhere in your backend. For example, you could push to an S3 bucket, you could push to a database like Mongo or Postgres or anything else, right? And then as your users are connecting, they are called tenants inside of hotglue. And so if I click on this tenants tab, we can see that we have just one tenant, the demo tenant that we connected earlier. And if I click on this, we can actually go and see that this tenant demo has connected the Google Sheets integration. And if we click into here, we can see that they've ran a sync, which completed successfully today. And if I click on this, we can actually see the logs to see what happened as the data was being synced. And if I click on this download icon, we can actually get the data from that was cloned from Google Sheets and view it here. So we'll wait for this to complete, and then we can look at the data and make sure that it matches the Google Sheet that we saw here. Okay, the zip was downloaded of the data from the job. If I open this zip up, we can see inside of this sync output folder that it cloned the test sheet, and specifically there was the contact sheet inside of this document, so it's referring to this contacts at the bottom here. And so now that I've opened that in Excel, we can see we have all three rows that we just talked about: Jane Doe, John Doe, and James Monroe, and all the fields associated with them, just like is shown here. So it worked properly. And so that's basically all there is to setting up the integration. So we went from, basically setting up the flow here with the source, and then having a user connect everything and choose which sheets they wanted to clone. And then finally, we saw the final data in here. Cool, thank you for watching. Please reach out if you're interested in learning more.